Welcome to Divine Purpose Podcast with your host, Daniel and
Patrice Myers. In this podcast, you will be introduced to the 3 C's.
Comedy, conversations, and community. Join the discussion with fellow entrepreneurs, community activists,
with our major focus on the beauty of family in our community. Episodes drop every Tuesday. Whether inspirational or ratchet, all conversations have a divine purpose. So do I say corny or do you say corny?
You wrote it.
This podcast with your host Patrice and Daniel Myers. This podcast is brought to you by RMJ Financial Services, which is a financial wellness organization based in the DC metropolitan area. Our mission is to educate our community on the importance of financial wellness, starting with securing your family and assets with life insurance. Life insurance products are extremely diverse and can lead to funding many of your dreams and financial goals, which is why we refer to it as living benefits.
Living benefits. What
do you mean by living benefits, you ask? Well, would you like to create a tax-free asset for yourself and become your own personal bank?
I would.
To learn more, visit us at www.rmjfinancialservices.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at rmjfinancialservices.com. And for a free consultation, email us at
info@rmjfinancialservices.com. That shit's starting to sound good every time.
Yeah, you know, I'm working on it.
I need my shell.
Yes. Your gift.
My gift.
So, this episode today, we have in the building, it's hard for me to say, like, without actually saying, but this is my cousin, okay?
My cousin. This is family.
What it is.
Real fucking family.
He's my cousin. But not only is he my cousin, but he is also an artist, and he's sensitive about his shit, you know? So, we're going to be here today. We're going to get into the business of family, the business of music.
And the business of our good friend and brother, Tim Hicks, affectionately known as
Let the Dirt
Say Amen.
Yeah.
And we're going to start the show off like we start every show off. We're going to get the vibe right with some music, and we're just going to kick back and let these tunes play. And this is going to set the tone of the show.
This is your intro music.
Hey, that's my blood.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Go ahead, babe.
We're just going to let this play.
We're going to let this intro music be his intro music. How about that?
So every time we start the show off, we have a song playing for the theme.
Okay.
And this is the theme for this. It's actually probably my favorite song of yours.
Thank you.
I love the bars.
Your theme is your theme, your music.
Nah, DC, nigga, not the DMV. DC. Niggas don't remember old gym vans. Twitter beats, Snapchats, and hashtags. Asses getting fatter off implants. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder sometimes. Niggas don't remember old gym vans. Twitter beats, Snapchats, and hashtags. Asses getting fatter off implants. It's like a jungle sometimes. Calvin Cheney for 3. I see sharp biting niggas still wearing goggles. Nigga knocking with a slash.
You ready?
Yeah. My last hustle get.
All right.
Not bad.
Remix.
I just like that.
Yo, it's an interesting story with that one too, because the sample for that song.
Mm-hmm.
So, my father is your great uncle.
Yes.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Scooney brother.
And your uncle, no, your grandfather is my uncle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Scooney's brother used to play. Hey, don't hit me, Pops, for calling you that, because you are Scooney's little brother.
He is Scooney's little brother. He is. You know, they go back
like
and forth all the time.
I'm Don Taria's little brother.
Yes, yes.
So, all right. So, and I should say to my parents, I love y'all. Don't be mad that I have a spliff in my hand. But I also want to say on camera that told you so. I told y'all that weed was going to be legal in D.C. one day.
One day.
So anyway,
right.
We ain't doing nothing wrong. All right, just so you know,
it's all legal,
but
right?
He had this. It was this. They had like these mixtapes in essence, these Christmas literal cassette tapes where they had all these different songs on the joints. Christmas joints, and they would play it every year. They still got them joints in the house to this day. And it was a song on there where the dude was singing God rest ye merry gentlemen, blah, 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 blah. And so at the end of the song, he's like, what is it? To save us all, save oh, tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy. And so he gets to the last part and he's like, tidings of comfort
and joy.
Really?
Oh, that's where that sample came.
That came
So
from
he's saying
that song?
and joy. That's what keeps. So it just really keeps going. Joy.
It's joy.
Oh.
Joy. That's what he's saying at the end of the joint.
See, that's why I love, like, this is like, it's almost, I love, like, listening parties and stuff like that, right? Because, like, listening to the music, you get to get behind what's really in the music. Every artist is sensitive about that shit because every real artist puts every piece together.
Yeah.
To make it a perfect masterpiece for themselves. So what does that song, since it's my favorite, Jim Vance.
Yeah. Man, like, you know, I mean, we'll get into it that album was dedicated to our city.
Yeah, we can see. Yeah.
Look at the titles of the songs.
Like, we all know, obviously, what it means to say the DMV, but if you always remember that, you got to start that with DC.
Yeah.
DC, Maryland, Virginia. And I want each part to get their respective shine. So I always felt like people came and took from DC, but we never really got our. So anyway, Jim Vance, obviously, if you are my age or close to it, you can remember him being on the news. Like, if you didn't remember anybody in the city, you remember who Jim Vance was.
Jim Vance and Donnie Simpson.
Yeah.
Yes.
Look, that's that's the squad right there. Shout out to Donnie Simpson.
Yes.
You don't know Jim
My
Vance?
fellow light-eyed brother.
Yes.
Green-eyed band.
Donnie was smooth, Joe.
was a smooth
Chocolate
dude.
brother with
Yeah.
some green eyes, man.
Oh,
It's
that's
like,
a rare commodity
you
right
can't beat
there,
that,
man.
That shit was not fair.
Young,
You can't even let Donnie
look.
His skin was so smooth. He had the
and
curly
then he got that little
hair,
laugh.
too.
Yeah.
Smooth
You can't
voice.
let Donnie Simpson talk
Nah,
to
you
your
can't.
wife. Like,
You
y'all
can't.
cousins, so I'm cool with your green eyes looking at her. So, you know, there's a couple of niggas that come on the show. I'm like,
Like, nah,
I'm
man.
going to sit in the middle
Like,
on
sit
this
over
one.
there, man. Yeah.
I'm going to sit in the middle on this
Like,
one.
sit over there.
But yeah, so you said this album was dedicated to the city. And I look at the titles of it. I listen to the samples, and the samples are strong. The
Man.
music is real
Thank you,
strong.
man.
Yeah.
Your music is strong, and it has you have an interesting story. Because before it was with the Dirty Church. Is that different from Cornel West?
So, all right, so the way the names happened was like, me and my man, shout out to my man Rashad Dobbins. That's my other brother. Like, you know, I got Don, I got Tony, but Rashad is that other dude. I got some other brothers that I love dearly like that as well. Shout out to my man Born Infinite. Shout out to my man Marcus Ferguson over there in Deanwood, right up the
Oh,
street.
wow.
He on Lee Street, right up the street from
Yeah.
Uncle
Still on
Scooney.
Lee Street.
Yeah.
Yep, right up the street from Uncle Scooney. So, but anyway, what was the point? Where was we going with it?
The
Y'all know I
names,
got-
the
y'all know
different
I got a
groups.
split
I know.
from
It's
my
okay.
hand.
It's okay.
Listen, we
So-
understand.
We got you.
we
So
gonna help you.
the names, right? Rashad came up with the name Dirty Church as like a alias for DC. He made all these like weird random like nicknames, but they all were with the first letter being D and the second letter being C. So it was like Dirty Church, Dirt County, Daddy's Corners,
Oh, okay.
Dimensional Control, which actually was my first like MC name. Like,
Dimensional Control?
Yep, I used to rap under the name Dimensional
Sound like a
Control.
transformer.
Yeah, and the thing about it was, I was saying this to somebody else recently, was like, I've always tried to pick names that don't sound like they're my name, that sound like it could possibly be a group
Not an individual.
and not a.
So
you know what
I actually
mean?
thought, because like the way it's written out is Tim Hicks X Dirty Church.
Yeah.
So I thought, because I've always said, and I told Patrice, I said, man, he like the fucking Black Thought of DC.
Yeah,
Just people-
absolutely.
Just people need to hear
Yeah,
that
for
shit.
real, for real.
Hey, Thought, what's up?
Yeah, man. Like,
we got to do something together, brother.
Yes,
I swear to
come on,
God,
let's make it happen.
You one of my teachers, big bro. Let's do it.
yeah. So it's like you sound like a your. When I hear you rapping, it's like a Black Thought. That's the style I hear.
Yeah.
But I always I thought the Dirty Church. I was like, oh shit, do we got a band behind them now? Is this about to be like a sort of like a Roots type of thing?
So all right, so the name, I was like, all right, I like that joint. I want to use that name to produce under. So by the time I like eventually grew out of the dimensional control phase, it was like we was doing this band that was like some real crazy experimental stuff. Like kind of like a fusion of jazz, because we was listening to a lot of older jazz at that time, and hip hop, go-go. It was like just, but we was playing it all improv. Most of us on the instruments that we was on didn't know what we was doing, except for my man Sam. Shout out to Sam Levine, who was the
Sam
actual,
probably was looking at y'all like,
actual,
you motherfuckers.
yeah, who was the actual drummer. Sam is a real drummer.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us was just like I played the drums in that band too.
Mm-hmm.
You did.
So we had two drummers.
Are you good at the drums or like a church drummer?
Yeah, I'm good.
Like one of them jokes in the church, you just got to keep the beat.
Yeah, it just got enough to keep the crowd going.
Yeah, I'm functional, but I have a deficiency where I'm trying to separate the limbs. Like my kick foot is sometimes doing the same thing that the hi-hat foot is doing. So that takes like
but you light skin with green eyes, so you can't have everything. Bro.
I can stand in the back and smile, you know what I mean?
That's
like,
it. You look good though.
Yeah. But that joint, it led me into the Cornel West Theory, which was the next step. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to use the name The Dirty Church as like the name to say, hey, this stuff is produced by the Dirty Church.
Okay.
But the Cornel West Theory is the actual crew. Right? So I ain't really released much material under that Dirty Church name. I might have did one or two like little quick beat tapes. And then, you know, a random song or two that one or two artists in the city might have used. And then after all that time spent doing Cornel West Theory, for some reason, 2018, it was like, maybe you should do a solo album now. So it's always Cornel West Theory. I'm still doing that.
So did you decide to do the solo album, or was it like
I think it was God said it's time for you to do a solo album.
How did God tell you it's time to do a solo album? I'm always interested.
So this is I'm trying to think how to answer this. I say that God was the one who decided when that album was going to come out, because the joint won an award.
I know.
The Whammies, right?
Yep.
And it was my first solo album.
Wow.
And it took the award for best rap album in the DMV.
Yep.
So, but that's looking forward to the future.
Yeah.
And
Right,
like, I guess I don't know, it was like I said, timing, because I always had like a solo song on the Cornel West Theory albums. I would always make sure I did like one song where it was just me on the joint. But I guess I never really like, all right, just like you should do some solo stuff too, because I was just real focused on the Cornel West Theory. And it just so happened that I guess transformation, change, adapting to, you know, wins and losses, you know, being honest about my own mistakes,
Right.
trying to be a rock star before the time, and doing stupid stuff that like cats get paid to do. There's a lot of mistakes that people make, and they're getting paid to make those mistakes. I wasn't really getting paid to make them, but I was making them. But you get through all of that, and then finally, I guess that had weeded itself out, and I was not so much changing the production style, but I guess I was just kind of focusing on a particular type of production.
Okay.
Like soul samples in particular.
Oh,
Stuff
okay.
All your stuff has
that
soul.
our parents was listening to.
Yeah.
It was like, yo, let me see if I can like rap over this.
Yeah, because that's one of the things that I liked about this album is the samples.
Okay.
I love the intros, how they went in, the outros, just the thought process behind it, because, you know, some people just put together an album this is more so like it feels like a story, like you're trying to tell a story, like you're going through something. For me, what I picked up the most was like I felt like I was at a basketball game.
Okay.
Like, because that's
dope.
the part, I guess those are the parts that resonated the most with me when I heard like a commentator or something like that in the background. So I felt like, where am I at? Like, what's going on here? So that's why when you said it's called Bullets, that it felt like it was at a game. I guess that's how I saw it. So what exactly were you trying to convey in this project? Because I know, like you said, it was about DC. It's definitely about DC. When you see the names.
Told you to do it.
And God told you to do it. Like, we even looked up a couple of people because we was like, hold on, is everybody on here from DC? Who was the guy that we looked up? Like, we ain't know Muggsy Boat was from Baltimore.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
I just knew he played on the Bullets team. I didn't know he was from Baltimore.
He did play on the Bullets team. He had a line in the song. I can't think. Hold on. Let me go back to the joint. Hold on.
But yeah, so what's the venture?
Gilbo.
Okay.
Gilbo, yeah.
Who's Gilbo?
Gilbert Arenas.
He's a fucking.
It was just me being random. I don't even know if I ever heard somebody say that as a nickname for him, but it just, for some reason, it just sounded like something somebody from DC would say.
Absolutely.
If they was just shortening Gilbert Arenas, like, yeah, young Gilbo hit 30 last night, Slim. Like, you know what I mean? That's how I heard it in my head. Yeah.
Right.
This generation, Mo, back
I'm still Joe. And young.
I'm still Joe too. Joe and
I'm
Jive.
definitely young.
I'm all
I'm
in
saying
Jive,
young.
all that stuff. Like,
Jive.
I mean, not Jive, like
Nigga, you
Jive,
went back.
like Jive, like
I still say that all
I
the
still say
time,
Jive,
too.
like
She
all
said
the time.
Jive.
Especially if I'm trying to like
Good times on
talking
that ass.
code on the phone, my man, it's like if I ain't trying to say something like, yeah, Jai, young. All that we just talked about, that's what I was trying to convey in the album was that this is where I came from.
Right.
I came from the era of the Go-Go's. I came from when you could still, get in a fight and not get shot at the end of it. But it was on its way.
It was on its way. So you had time.
We were young in the time when it was like, it's happening right now. You know what I mean? But
yeah, because not saying you're older, but a couple of years older than us.
Yeah.
So you guys, your generation, your people,
we probably started.
y'all the ones that started all that stuff.
So that's why I don't like when people in my generation a lot, and I have to not correct myself, but like it is still different. Because a lot of people in my generation talk about, these youngins, they doing all this shooting. Well, I mean, back in the 90s when we was coming up, it was 500 murders.
Man, it was crazy.
So you had 150, 200 now a year.
Yeah.
I mean, back then it was different shit, though. It was a war, literally.
Yeah.
And I think some of us are still walking around shell-shocked from coming up in that era.
Do you think y'all, this is one thing I don't see a lot of people talking, a lot of men talking about that's from the DC, PTSD.
It's real.
Y'all niggas walking around shell shock for real.
I still be paranoid.
Yeah, like literally looking over your shoulder, like you don't know how to feel if somebody being nice to you. Like what's the angle here?
I got crystals and shit on. I'm still walking.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be protected, nigga. What the fuck?
I grew up on 47th and Dick Street, DIX, for the pause generation. But
47 dicks in
right. For those that that ain't that's not instant. That's not instantly thinking that way, because when I hear him say that, I'm like, young, why is your brain there? Again, I love everyone, love to everyone, and love to who you love. But I always just be wondering, like, I notice you say that a lot, like, so
You're
is that instantly
that
your thought when but anyway.
Might want to look into it.
I grew up on 47th and Dick Street, Northeast. Literally, I could step out of my house, look down, and see Kelly Miller Junior High School, which is a middle school now, and right above Kelly Miller is Lincoln Heights Projects. So that was my, Lincoln Heights was like the big thing growing up, and little did I know that all our family was up that joint.
So that's the.
I ain't even know.
My grandfather still go to Lincoln Heights. Well, pre-COVID, the Lincoln Heights.
Uncle Don be around.
So like y'all family is the origin of fucking Lincoln Heights.
Yeah,
and like it's crazy because it was deep,
real
just
deep.
the family. So like. It's funny because like Teresa's very prim and proper,
Okay.
But people don't know like her family is like
she sees me. she don't strike me as that.
That's
But that's because
proper?
you around her all the
so
time.
it's another side
that,
of you, huh?
And I remember, I probably, the last time I was like around Patrice, she was probably Zoe's
What
size.
I tell you? Didn't I tell you? You know what I remember the last time we was together? The last time we was together, you and Tony, y'all was sitting in Granddaddy house. Y'all was on the stairs, and it looked like this was the last time your parents was going to drag y'all to a family function. Y'all was like, this ain't happening again. I'm not doing this near again. And I think Uncle David was still alive, and they had the ponies over there at Deanwood.
Okay.
And that was the last like family get together that I remember.
You know, as we get
that corner house on
Yep.
49th and Qualls.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Still
I used to get green around that joint, and my uncle snitched me out of my father one day. My father, I come back around PG County, they out in Fort Wash, and then he like, yeah, your uncle said he seen you the other day. And I'm like,
What is going on here?
Your whole family around this
Right.
motherfucker.
like,
From
you
49th and Qualls
you
to Lincoln
can't
Heights,
do
we got
nothing.
all
Yeah,
this
you
shit.
can't do nothing around that joint.
Nothing
Somebody
at
gonna
all.
know who you
Nothing
are.
at
dog.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was like the last time that I remember like all of us as a family outside of family reunions. You know what I'm saying? But that was our family reunions was so I don't know, they was interesting.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? So it was like we'll see each other still in passing, and then my parents had me in a little corner somewhere, like I was could speak to nobody. So
Yeah.
it was still felt like it was just like, all right, there go my cousins. Hey y'all.
Yeah.
From afar.
But the family reunions was kind of how we knew who our peoples was, like, cause that, that's how I, made the connection. Is like I see, my cousins Adrian and Anthony and Peaches, who I don't know if y'all are familiar with them,
Nope.
but they're your cousins via I believe Aunt Doris.
Okay.
Some of the cousins are from Aunt Lanita. Aunt Gloria, I think, was up there too at one point. Maybe.
Up at the top.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure if she I think she lived in Lincoln Heights at one point.
Yeah,
early
I thought she
on.
did. Yeah.
So all of them, most of the sisters were up there, with the exception of maybe one or two. So, you know what I mean? It's like you got a lot of cousins from that.
Man.
So at the family reunion, it was always like, yo, and then some time goes by, and I'm like around the way, and I see these cats coming off the hill, and I'm like, all right, gotta get ready. But then it's like, oh, you was at the, hey man,
Hey, that's my peoples.
yeah. So
That's wild, man. It's,
Yeah.
it's actually, man, I can honestly say that just listening to you speak, a thought just hit me, man. It's actually real refreshing to see you here with your cousin.
Yeah.
With what's happening right now, especially with us being back together now and you being in support of that. Like I man,
Big time.
I appreciate it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? 'Cause
nah,
it's like-
me and
it's like,
Tony.
I know because we all had a separate relationship outside of, like, even like I talked to Patrice, I say, man, when we were divorced, me and Tony was cool. I run into you all the time. It's cool. Her grandparents, I have one grandmother. Her grandparents have always been like grandparents to me. So like even when I ran into some aunts and stuff, and so even though we was divorced, like I still call them uncle, grandpa, this aunt, my
They
cousin.
still family,
It never
yeah.
stopped. So now that we're back together, it's just refreshing to have you sitting across.
Yeah, man, and
because
you
it's
know,
real.
you like I said, you got your different relationships with your peoples, and some you see, some you don't. But see, so it's a double connection because you are in the department. So
Right. Yeah,
Don
right.
and Tony. My father was there before them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then of course,
And then my
y'all
father worked with your brother.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So and then y'all are linked. She's my cousin.
Yeah, so
They're
it's
my
like-
they're you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's
So
just like
this is
It's
how-
like all
and
over.
you feel like somebody who has been with our family, but long, like
what I'm saying.
that's what I'm talking about. Like
Yeah.
back when she was small and we was young,
Yeah.
at the family reunions, you feel like a cousin that was there then.
Yeah,
'Cause
that was always
So
there.
I ain't
We
had to
just
think
fit
about
in,
it when I
yeah.
seen
My
you. It was
family
like,
is,
yeah,
our families are
You're
so
real familiar.
similar.
Yeah.
Like her father and my father knew some of the same people. Like
Yeah.
her father uptown nigga, my father uptown.
Well,
nigga,
you know,
so
the
it's just
family
like-
reunions really helped Daniel
Yeah, 'cause-
to understand
Yo.
me better because the way that I guess
That's why I was about to say I don't see her as prim and proper because I know who her peoples are.
Yeah.
And I ain't saying that none of my peoples are ghetto, but
No, y'all never
we
was ghetto.
from the hood though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We
It's
aware.
like
We very aware.
even with our like moments where we gotta like speak a different
Eloquently?
language. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
different
Where I had
language.
to like, you know, when I'm on a different front, I might not slur my R's as much. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
But
Where I'm from, we
still,
pronounce our
it's like I
E's and
said,
R's.
E's and
like I
our
said, it's
R's.
like my, you know, my growing up was like I said, I went to east of the river, the hospital over there, and Well Baby Clinic, and like these are some things way back that's
Right.
like around there, like Galt Place and
Yeah.
East Capitol Street, and I remember, you know, 58th when it was projects before the townhouses and like stuff like that. So yeah, I had to be here. I told
So-
y'all, I want to, if God will, get super rich. Not because I need to floss on anybody
Right.
or flex or whatever it is you call it these days, but
So many.
I just want to make sure we good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
that
It's
when
about the generations.
when we somewhere and
Yeah.
hey man, nah, the car coming for you.
Yeah.
I
It's
know what I
like
mean?
right.
Absolutely.
Like that's what we talk about. We talk about positioning ourselves. Like my main goal is to get to a place where, and I got a good circle of people, business owners and everything. But the goal is to get us all to a place where when our daughters come up, they don't never have to go on a job interview.
Nope.
What do you or what do you like to do?
What do you want to
Yes.
do?
What can and I can invest in you.
Yes.
I was once somebody's young black kid, and it's not a lot of options for us in terms of, oh man, he's about to be the next Tom Cruise, or you know, even the fact that I even threw out a name of a white citizen.
Yes.
That should just let you know it's like we
It's
usually
already
our
in-
aspirations are
We
like,
don't even
oh
think
well,
about it.
Yep.
yeah, you know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Like so, I commend them in trying to keep us safe, but it's also like we're at a place like you said, like nah, young, I'm gonna teach them what this is. So that they're
Yeah.
not, I want to make sure that as I watch them, I'm not stifling them too much. Like if he's looking at, you know, if my kids is, hey, I'm gonna watch, you know, these TikTokers or whatever.
It's gonna
Now
come
I
up.
could frown on it.
Right.
As long as you ain't watching nothing that's too crazy, which that's the stuff that I use. All right, go ahead, turn the joint off, man. My
You
man.
kind of
Gone
got
too far.
Yeah.
But what if they end up being
A TikToker.
hey man, this dude went viral and now they're paying this cat X amount of, you know, my other daughter, she likes to do art. She showed me a piece of art the other day and I was like, you drew this?
Wow.
Not traced this? And she was like, yeah, I just drew it from my head.
Whoa.
And I was like, nah, see, this needs to be sold for
Wow.
like hundreds of dollars. Like,
Wow.
You can start
oh,
on her path.
I just do it because I like it, Daddy. And I'm like, not to push nothing on you, but I mean, you like that iPad that you drew the joint on? Yeah, that iPad costs money. So I would rather you take what you love and get paid than have to do the route that I do.
Absolutely.
Where it's I have to kind of go and get in where I fit in and do that while I'm doing this.
And listen to
You know
what you
I'm
just
saying?
said. You said, I drew it on the iPad, right? These kids, artists think with the left side of their brain, right? And a lot of us are left side brain thinkers. But we're taught, because I know I'm a left sided brain thinker, but we're taught, go get that safety, security net. So it's like, it's nothing better than having, because you're an artist, you know the type of encouragement that your daughter would need after drawing something like that, because you want and need that type of encouragement as well. You know what I mean? So it's like we're in a different place now where we're able to.
You want to push creativity and
Yeah.
imagination.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want
Allow
them to be creators.
Allow them to grow into, like, my thing is, this is gonna sound crazy, but you know, because I got into my profession at 20 years old, because I had twin girls and nigga, we was on our own, and it was like, my dad was one, so I know this is gonna pay the
Yeah,
fucking bills.
yeah,
So cool, I'm gonna do
yeah.
that. But I had other things that I was into. I had other things that I wanted to do, but it was, I had to secure my family. Now that my daughters are 18 years old and I'm in a different place in life, I want them to go out and be able to fuck up.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Like other
do.
people get the chance to go out and fuck
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, hey,
Yeah.
young, I mean, I graduated from college, and I'm gonna just go and walk the hills of Switzerland, young.
That's what I mean.
You know, just
So we gotta go right into
at the castle out the joint for 6 months.
Exactly. We gotta jump right into reality.
But with that,
and I just want the kids to have the opportunity to dream.
But understand who you are.
Yeah.
Because this is who I am here. Who am I if I go on a fucking backpacking trip for 6 months to a year?
Yeah.
You really at a young age can figure out, what do I really like? What do I really like to do? What type of women do I like?
Yeah.
What type of things am I into? Do I really want to drink all the time? How do I want to live? And then when you come back, you've got all that out.
That's why I didn't push college on Kaylin Kier. I told them it's their decision if they want to go to school, like, because it might not be your path. Like, I'm looking at me and Daniel, neither one of us graduated from college, and I feel like I'm doing damn good. You know what I'm saying? Like, that certificate didn't make or break me.
I know.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So, but I'm not saying anything against it, but I don't want Kaylin Kier to feel like
that's the only route. Yeah.
That's the only route to prove that you're smart enough for someone to pay you money is through going through getting a college education.
What a college education does, and I don't mean any offense to any of our people who are in college, going to college, or have graduated from college, because Kaylin Kier is going, they do want to go to college. But I say this, college is good in, the reason that college is good is because some people are not built to create on their own.
Yeah.
And not saying that if you go to college you cannot create on your own. That's not what I'm saying. But what college does is it teaches you stability and able to run and manage a system. Organization. So for 4 years of your life, you're following a system. So if I own, now when our business blows up, which it is.
You ain't got to knock on wood. It's happening. Go ahead.
It is happening. We're going to have to hire people to
follow our system.
To follow the system that came out of our mind.
You know, why front now? Why pretend at this point?
Yeah.
So, but I just need the finance to support the way that I live. Like I said, it ain't changing. It's just like, look, this is your pops, you know, and my mission is a righteous mission. Even if I'm not all the way righteous, I'm working on trying to get there, and I know what I'm trying to do is something that's not screwed up. That's all I want with them. Is, hey man, do whatever you want to do, just don't be an asshole. The world does not need any more extra assholes. Don't.
This takes me to something. This is kind of off topic. And it's not off topic, actually. I would have loved Obama to free Mumia Abu-Jamal.
So, all right, you know what? Actually, it's good that you did say that. Because, one, we able to keep that name in circulation until Mumia gets out. And my prayer is that we'll see Mumia walk out this year.
Free all political prisoners.
Yeah. But the other thing is good is that, and I had to learn this too, but this came up on Vlad TV over on this side. Oh, it's legal to have this. But over here, it's a federal crime. So it's the same way with that, is that if you are a prisoner who has a state conviction, only the governor of the state can pardon you. So it's strange because it's like, well, how are you the president of the whole United States, you can't override? So that's how it works. It's like all these loopholes where it's like, we're the United States, but states do what you want to do. But if we decide that we don't like you, then we gonna rush in, and you know what I mean. Like even when DC was trying to legalize weed, what was that Bama's name? I can't think of the dude's name, but he was a jerk, and he was one of the people in Congress at the time, a Maryland cat who was trying to come at Mayor Bowser about going through with the initiative to legalize, legalize weed in D.C. And they was making
O'Malley? You talking about O'Malley?
Not O'Malley. His name was Jason something. I can't think of this Bama's last name, but it was him and maybe one other person. But just the point of it is like D.C. has to follow the federal government still, even though we make our own. You know what I mean? DC's unlike any other place because it don't have a state that it belongs to.
Right. That's just weird.
So it's like I said, it's strange how all that works, where it's like, yo, you're the president of the entire United States, but the law is that you can't step into a state affair and pardon somebody. They have to be doing federal time.
So he was convicted by the state.
Yeah. Yeah, he was convicted by the state. you know, on some janky shit.
What was the actual conviction? Because I know you have a relationship with him, right?
Yeah, they said they basically framed Mumia for killing a cop.
Right.
And the situation was Mumia was working as a journalist. Mumia was a former Black Panther, so they had already been looking for him. You know, like most of the people from that era, you were a target in some way. Unlike now, where you can kind of be cool and militant.
Yeah.
But
accepted now.
depending, because like I said, you ask some of them people that's on the front lines at them protests who got a baton upside their head or some mace or something worse.
We're not talking about Facebook gangsters.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But Mumia got caught up in that when they were trying to eliminate the Panther Party. So eventually, in the early 80s, 81, Mumia was out driving a cab part-time because journalism, just like hip-hop right now, it ain't paying the full bill. So you got to do something else to make sure that the baby's all right, right? That your folks okay. So he's out driving a cab, and he sees somebody in an altercation with the cops. He looks a little closer, and it's his brother. What would you do? I would have stopped the car and got out just like he did and ran up. Now, Mumia had a licensed firearm on him because he was a cab driver. It was Philly. It was the 80s. It was,
Right.
Yeah, somebody might run up on me, but he had a license to carry his joint. Basically, in the scuffle, the cop is shot, but he wasn't shot by Mumia. Mumia gets shot. Somebody else on the scene shot the cop and got up out of there.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So they basically said,
So
no,
they
nigga,
look,
you're going to somebody
they
did
was
it.
like, we going to just put this on
This is
you.
perfect.
Because he got
Pretty
shot.
much
up
because
the
they was looking for
scene.
him anyway.
Yeah, it was like they was doing all kinds of stuff. Like at the scene of the crime, Bam was like, "Oh yeah, put that joint right there. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna just hold the gun."
Wow.
Now, granted, yeah, maybe they got your fingerprints on file because you're an officer of the damn law, but the way I understood it was like it's protocol and procedure with all of this.
Right.
Like there are tests that have to be done. There's all, you know, but they just literally railroaded him in court. They created just a circus, basically. It was one of the craziest trials in the world, and they just was like, yeah, young, you're sentenced to death for the killing of this cop, more so because of who you are.
Absolutely.
Not because you really did it. So it's like now you actually letting somebody else walk who did kill this
They didn't
cop.
care because they just got, they put a nigga
'Cause
away
they got
and
him.
put a nigga away and got a Black Panther off the
Exactly.
It's a double whammy.
Exactly.
Yeah. And he survived like 3 different death sentences, like 3 different death warrants being signed where Bama's coming to you like, oh yeah, young, on July 25th, yeah, you gone.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
and he survived that to still be a voice outside. Like, you know, he has newscasts basically that are recorded and sent out here into the world.
Wow.
He's written like 7, 8 books, and he could be a professor somewhere right now. He deserves to be out. He could be Jim Vance. He could be Tom Brokaw. You know what I mean? It's just, you know, like you said, certain people get the opportunity to fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Others don't.
Nope.
And Mumia didn't fuck up, but then, like I said, you got people that's actually out here wilding out doing
He
shit.
was. They were
you know?
looking for him. It was the perfect storm. Almost. Unfortunately, it was like, we got him.
Yeah. So,
This is perfect.
Yeah.
but Move, if anybody knows about the Move organization, they're tied into each other's story. So Move, you know, it's a family of people that's basically, if I had to say, they were kind of like if you had the mixed rosters and the Black Panthers as one group. So before people was doing stuff like, oh, we're going to go green. Move was already doing that. They growing their food in the yard. They trying to teach people, hey man, you don't have to be at that grocery store. They protesting zoos because, hey man, why you got the animals in this joint? They were doing a lot of things, but they were not an armed group.
I didn't know the Move was not on.
Yeah, but they
because
treated them.
the way they ended
The way they
it,
depict it is like they,
but not
you know
even
what
what
I
they
mean?
depicted what they did to them. They dropped the
Yeah,
bomb.
they made it look
They
like
literally dropped
like,
the bomb on them.
Yeah,
What? Where?
In a city block in Philadelphia.
In
They
1985.
They dropped the bomb.
Oh, I've heard of that. I did hear
that's
about that.
Move.
Oh, that okay.
And I didn't hear about that till I got
Okay.
older.
Yeah,
I didn't learn
yeah.
about
This
Mumia
was-
till I got older.
Oh,
So how did
okay.
you end up? How did you end up?
I found out about the story watching this documentary one day called "In Prison My Whole Life," and it was about Mumia's story. And I was just like, I heard his name back in the day, but I just never knew who he was. So I looked at that joint, and it just blew me away. Like, wow, like I can't believe that they would do this to somebody, because you talking about like, you, me, anybody in this room is like, you know what I'm saying? So to think about somebody being, and like he has one of them, weird cases where like, yeah, you have prisons where all across the world where you got like super violent people that are in solitary for, and I mean, maybe I might not agree with the way that solitary is done because or prison period, because you're putting somebody in a place that's supposed to change their behavior for the better, but you put a human being in a actual like a cage, not like
a dog.
Hey man, we got a big building where it's a bunch of studio apartments.
Yeah.
Think about how that could change the mind. But anyway, we talking about somebody who didn't do anything, who ended up in the joint, and they threw Mumia basically. He did like what? I'm sure maybe 30 years in solitary.
What?
Yeah. Like if I'm not mistaken, he probably did about 30 years in solitary, and he's been in there about just about as long as all of us have been living. So
oh my goodness.
Move just got out like over the course of some years. All of them, with the exception of 2 of them who actually died in prison, if I'm not mistaken, Merle and Phil Africa. But the rest of them, it was 9 of them originally, I think. That was the Move 9. That was the case.
Right.
And the judge sentenced all of them for the murder of one police, just like Mumia, to 30 to 100 years.
Wow.
So how does 9 people fire one bullet that killed one? You know what I'm saying? But he was
we got to get this ideology out of here.
He was like, all y'all. So
we got to take it. That's basically making a statement to everybody else. So that's why, we've been publicly lynched.
Fear tactics.
That's exactly
it's
what
all
it
it
is.
is terrorism. Terrorism is like, don't mean I gotta hurt you. I gotta do something to you. I'm creating terror.
Yeah.
So what that is
to know if you speak up, this is where you're going to end. You're either going to end up dead or locked up.
Yeah, I mean, it's the thing is, at the end of the day, Eddie Griffin said this once. He was like, something like, forget the messenger. Did you get the message?
Forget the messenger.
Like,
did you get the message?
All right, yeah, you roll with Muhammad. Yeah, you roll with Jesus. Yeah, you know what I mean. And I'm not trying to say it in no loose way like that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, is it like, and I mean, I check myself with this because every day I'm sitting there staring at God because I know He's around, and I'm like, young, what I'm doing right now is totally messed up. How many people do that? How many people, or that really know, or do God. They just front and pretend and like, oh no, I'm not. I'm,
Well, when you have those conversations with that energy source, which we call God, if you have those conversations on your own and it's not a front, and you ain't got to be out yelling and screaming, that's when you really know you there. Yeah. Because it ain't about what the show is.
Yeah, and even to be able to show up in front of God, like you said, and just even say I'm not right now. A lot of people, that's when you tend to hide your face from God. When He said, "Who told you was naked?" You know what I mean? Because I knew who you were from the beginning. I knew you wasn't clean from the beginning when I created you. So don't shy away from me and think the only way that you could present yourself to me is when you think you're good. You know what I'm saying? So even being able to do what you said and be like, I'm here right now, but I don't feel like this shit is going right. That's still good, because a lot of people even refuse to even step in front of a church, go into a church because they feel like they're not clean enough to be there. But you gotta go. If you gotta go to the doctor, can't go to the doctor whole. You know, what's the point of going to the doctor? You know what I mean?
The other thing is, and this is my thing, no one stays in the hospital for the rest of their life.
Yeah, Daniel says that all
You
the
are
time.
meant to go there and get your healing.
He says that all
Get
the
your
time.
healing because you need it.
Yeah.
And maybe go back in and check on some other patients. Or every now and then you might twist your ankle and might need to go back. But it's not meant to stay for the rest of your life. My opinion, my humble opinion, you are supposed to go get yourself healed. And now that you are healed, or no one stays in school for their whole life. Learn what you learn and go teach what you need to teach.
So that's one thing about my family. Not only are we creators, and we also, you know, we dibbled and dabbled in the streets and the web, all those good things. But we also are like real spiritual. We have a lot of powerful people in our family. So how did it feel growing up with a prophetess?
Because that's real. Now that's real. I'm gonna tell you that your mother is.
Yeah, she's a dynamic woman, man. I'm telling you.
And I'm gonna tell you before you answer that question, man. That's how we connect through our families. 'Cause my family too is street, but my family's very strong spiritually. You know what I mean? So it's like we have our edges, and we all and family's funny. Y'all family funny, my family funny. I could have been a cousin at the cookout. You could have been a cousin at the cookout. But yeah, let's get into your mother is very powerful.
Hey man, Pat Hicks. You know, Miss Patricia, Mama Pat, Miss Pat, depending on when you met her. You know what I mean? She is an awesome motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, she made sure that I knew first who God was. And even if, you know, your parent is still searching themselves to have that, you know, that relationship where I'm like, nah, I get it. She always made sure, like, nah, here's the seed. So that you get that there's something bigger than you and bigger than everybody else that you see out this joint. Like, there's a reason why the tree looks like that. There's a reason why, you know, that fish does this and that bird, you know, has that stripe on it. Like, you know what I mean? But she was real, you know what I'm saying?
Very
like,
real.
She would whip your ass if it was necessary. But she always made sure love was the main thing. You know what I mean? Like,
Love,
and still does to
love.
this day. You know what I'm saying? Like, and my mother was I mean, I think both of my parents are artistic in their own ways. But my mother, you know,
Your father's singing motherfucker too.
You know what I'm saying?
He's singing motherfucker. Basketball.
Just talented.
Yeah, man. Like, they, you know, they both.
Y'all didn't have no choice but to be pretty successful.
Hey, man, but look, I'm the oddball. I'm still working on it, man. Like,
nah, you doing your own thing. You walking your own path. You know.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you. Don't. This show is about bigging up or paying respect to people that are doing things, and we call it comedy, conversations, and community. And the goal of this show. That's why there's food here. That's why there's refreshments here. That's why I literally said come as you are, because the goal of this show is to show people working in their divinity. Divinity is not measured by anything but you knowing you working in your divine purpose. So we can sit here and talk about your divine purpose while smoking a J and while we're pouring a glass of wine, because when you're operating in true divinity and you understand what it is, you're successful in it.
For real.
Yeah, very true.
So like speak, I don't say talk that shit.
Nah, but you're right, and that's something that I'm working with myself more on, because I sit somewhere between humility and guilt-ridden, if that makes any sense.
Why guilt?
Yeah, tell me why.
Just because the shit you learn and the stuff you choose to believe.
Me too.
Like, you're taught one thing, most of it usually has, I mean, I guess it's like always people framed it in the frame was religious.
Yeah.
Or spiritual.
Yeah.
Oh, don't do this, or
Yeah.
you know, hey man, if you
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
if you look at a picture of somebody naked, you going to hell.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
all of that
yeah,
type
yeah.
of
Live with
stuff.
that guilt.
And
I
then
got
it's
you.
what you grow up and actually hold on to and say, yes, I believe this. You know what I mean? So your guilt comes from that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's where it comes
Oh, no,
from.
I
At the end of the
totally
day. It's
understand
not so much
that.
always what you did wrong, but just like, well, why do I think this is wrong?
Cause you have to. It's like you spend so much time under your parents learning one way, and then as you're growing up, you still kind of weaning yourself off of your parents, and then when you fall into what it is that you feel is the best version of you. You still are unlearning all those things.
Like I said,
that you knew.
Destroy and
what we're
rebuild.
doing right now.
It's so much.
This is monumental. In
Listen, you got wine.
Yep.
You got fresh pressed or
That's
cold
right.
pressed juices.
That's right.
You got a joint. You got cheese.
Yeah.
We had kale
Yeah.
salad. We got.
I mean,
and all of these
2 years
things
ago.
are gifts.
Yeah.
God, in some way, made all of this, whether it was the cow or whatever that created that, the goat that made that cheese. This is from a plant. That juice is from, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it took time to be like, oh, nah, young, I know how you feel and whatever you was raised, but nah, that's where you at with it.
Yeah.
Where I'm at with it is
Yeah.
that, now I'm going to come to the church smack.
You probably gonna get
Because
more
see,
out
God
of it.
knew that I was getting smacked anyway.
But here's the thing.
Right.
Now you can come to the church smack and not care. Do these motherfuckers know if I'm high?
Yeah, I used, man, you know how many times I done rolled up in our cousin's church smelling real ripe. But I
used
was
to give you a
like,
hug,
look.
like,
I was like, look, young.
How you do?
Right.
Let's get back into the art, man. So we're gonna play this next song.
Yeah, man. Like I said, y'all keep me on point because, you know, I'll be in this show like, you know, so Raymond. Like, I know y'all remember Raymond. He was light skinned. Like, he went to Miller in 83 before I got there. Like, you didn't even get to Miller in 83.
Raymond.
Nah, man.
Because that's the only way I could find a live in the world. Otherwise, ain't no telling what I might do.
Oh, yeah.
Moses Malone.
This is a good one because the lyrics tell the story.
1986, I was 9, bumping Slick Rick, walking in my big brother's Timbs like a misfit, living in the district with guns, butter, biscuits, on a black market, Black Friday, Christmas, happy holidays from the far side, Fat Lip, beam me up, Scotty, talking Hardaway, Tim's quick, Melly Mel, L Rock bells and not pebbles, but young and 21 with a gun, Liddell Eccles, Big Benz, it was all about the Benjamins. Bad boys, big time, Lil' Kim, Cody had a sweet life, pinstripes did him in, should've known better, never sell it in Virginia, Slim.
Huh.
Plus the term state evidence.
That's one thing everybody know. Don't do no dirty
I wasn't
Virginia,
even in
man.
the game, and I just
Man.
know certain shit. And
Don't fly in Virginia. So, am I wrong to say that the opening of this song was Fences?
Yes.
Okay.
You are right.
Okay. So
I'm
when
sorry,
I heard,
I was supposed to say no, you are not wrong.
Oh,
I
okay.
said yes.
yeah,
You are right.
because when I heard it, I was like,
See?
I think
and
that's
you're the
Denzel.
very first person that has ever brought that up.
you know how I knew it was Fences? Because it was a lyric you dropped. So I figured out it was Denzel. And then when I kept listening to the song, you said something Fences. I said,
And
"This
guess
Fences?"
what? I didn't do that on purpose. You just revealed to me something that's in the story. That happens to me sometimes. Like, it's like I try to make sure I'm not making something up. But it was like, oh shit, look at what you did. Like, sometimes stuff comes to me after I said it and like, damn, that was actually a double entendre.
Yeah.
Have you ventured out of the States, like in Europe? You have a
I've been able to
hip-hop
tour once.
Okay.
Out of the country. My bad. I cut you off. You was about to say something.
I said your sound is like what they listen to over in Europe.
Yeah, overseas. Mm-hmm.
It's
And
like
we hoping to make more connections over there, but we've been over there once, back in 2011. Shout out to my man Kamon Freeman from WEAC Radio over there on the South Side, MLK, right by the Big
Good
Chair.
Hope Road, MLK.
Yeah, but Kamon hit me once. Yo, I'm getting ready to go to Amsterdam. I'm doing something over there that's kind of in connection with the Cannabis Cup events, and I want to take some artists, and I want y'all to be the ones to go. So somehow through a lot of pushing and pulling, kicking and screaming, it worked out, and we got free airfare and stay over there.
Wow.
And
How long was you over there for?
And that was my first time leaving the country. So I was 30, I don't know, however I'm 43 now, so however old I was in 2011.
Wow.
And I say that because I have DC public schools and PG County math mixed up in my head, and I don't feel like doing the math right now. So if you want to do it, if you want to do the math out there,
carry the one.
30 something. Yeah,
you was
I was
about
30 something.
Yeah.
So
how were you received?
it was like it was a learning lesson, because it was like you envision certain things. So I saw it as like, oh man, we gonna hit overseas and it's gonna be like the Beatles, young. They gonna, like the first time we play, it's gonna be like magic and the whole of Europe's just gonna start talking.
White bitches everywhere.
Yeah, you know what I'm
Magic. White bitches everywhere.
But you get there and you realize, oh, this is just like playing on U Street. You're just on the U Street over here, or you know what I mean. There's clubs at this size, there's clubs this size, and so we played in a spot that was a decent size. It had it was packed, and they received it well. But we actually, one of our musicians didn't go, and so actually I'm trying to remember. Was it just one? Yeah. My man John Moon, shout out to John Moon. He didn't make that trip, but the rest of us went. And my man Ben Tyree, who plays guitar, amazing guitarist, and musician, period. But Ben went in place of John to do guitar, and in the place of where the samples would have been played. So he was playing like, what it would sound like if it was played like. So it was received well. It was different, and I remember Cypress Hill's road manager was there, but he must have came in like right after we finished playing, and I went, "Hey man, salute." My manager saw him, so he was like, "Here, take these T-shirts, give him these CDs." Strapped him real quick. He was like, "Yo, we about to do a tour." So it's like, yeah, I'm trying, we trying to get that work of like, yo, we can end up on someone else's tour bigger than us that can, that
can take you to the whole.
So he was like, come through to this event at this bigger club the next night. I got out that joint, no ticket, no nothing. It's like, you're in another country. Even everybody had rolled out on me. Nobody else went that night. Everybody else was like, nah, we gonna just go back to the joint. So this sister that we knew from DC who moved to Amsterdam just so happened to been there when we got there.
That's a hell of a move.
Two of our people was over there at that time. So she was like, this is how you get back to the place. Walk this road straight, and it was like, she was like, but it's gonna take you like an hour. So you learning to just trust God. Like, hey man.
So you just walking around Amsterdam for an hour by yourself
at nighttime.
But that's the best.
It's a learning experience, because
oh my goodness,
it was nothing like being here, because, and I don't know how the society is as far as crime goes, but you didn't feel that same feeling. When I was out on the street at night, it was like empty, and I wasn't worried about like nobody jumping out the shadows. I was in a dream.
I'm from 47 dicks, bitch.
But I was in like a dream state almost.
Like taking it all in.
Just like, damn, like this is beautiful. Like I'm from 47th and Dick Street, and I made it all the way over here, an ocean away. You think about like our parents and how many of them, or your grandparents, and like, well, did they make it out of the country?
Did they make it out of the area?
You thinking most of us are trained to just see
what we know.
Deanwood. You just trained to know Trinidad or Berry Farms. You don't know anywhere. Like a lot of people, man, I ain't never been uptown.
Absolutely, even in DC. Yes.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's legit like that. Like I've had people when I moved to New York for a time that were from the Bronx that, hey man, can you tell me how, I'm in Harlem. That's like literally like right here to each other. And man, you know how to get here? Nah, man, I'm from the Bronx.
Wow.
But you right here. How you know to, you know, but that's just how we're trained to think. So it was like, I was happy to have finally at least done that.
That's good.
But it made me want it more. So it's like, you know, I
Cornel West. Let's talk about that connection. Cause were you touring with Cornel West?
So when we went over to Europe, it was just the band. So the band is an entity separate of Dr. West, but connected to him.
Okay.
So obviously we're his namesake.
Yeah.
You know,
How did that
So that's what I'm
happen?
asking. How did that actually happen?
2004, I was sitting in your great uncle's crib in the basement, and one day I literally just heard the name, the Cornel West Theory, in my head, and it was just like,
Wow.
You just heard the name in your head.
I literally just heard
Wow.
it, so I attribute that to God.
Yeah,
Like I said,
absolutely.
you hear voices, typically that's probably, unless it's something telling you to do some dumb shit. It's,
Hey
you
man,
know,
fuck your wife. Go fuck that
yeah,
bitch.
exactly.
Get out of my
Which
goddamn
that
head
is
again?
Yeah, right.
Shut up.
Always, yeah. Always
You're
the
so
other voices,
stupid.
yo. But yeah, you know what I mean? I heard it and I was like, man, I ain't that smart. That's God.
Right.
So, or the God in me. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So
God
it's
in
like,
you.
I hit my man, he was like, yo, that's the one. So some other people, my sister-in-law, shout out to Kim, and my man Fred Joyner, was like, yo, you should hit Dr. West up and ask him if he's cool with that idea. And so he came to D.C. on a book tour. And I went to the joint. Hannah was a baby. Went in the joint. Hannah's mom actually stole a book in the store and was like, she went up to somebody, was like, I was in the bathroom, I lost my book. And he was like, oh man, here's another copy of the joint. So she gave it to me, was like, get in line. I went in the joint and was like,
Yes, women always make a way.
thank you, Naima, because you pointed me in the right direction, Hannah's mom. So went up to Dr. West, was just like, yo, I'm you know, not here for the book signing. I got this idea. I'm trying to do this band called blah, 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 blah. The music is like this, and I want to call it the Cornel West Theory. And he was like, man, that sounds heavy, man. You got my blessing. Wrote down his number. I think he was at Princeton at the time. Was like, hit me up when you got some. You know.
Wait, so you didn't even know him?
Nah, I just had came to the joint.
Wow.
Like I said, I knew he was doing a book signing, and I was like, that's how you gonna get at him.
I'm gonna
if you
start a
can get
rap.
at him.
I'm gonna start an
my
R&B group
goodness.
called the Dr. Umar Bandits.
No, we not. No, we not.
Hey, Dr. Umar Johnson,
Hands on.
you are the greatest Pan-Africanist of all time.
He might
He be like,
be ready to
my
vent.
brother, my brother, my
He
brother.
might be ready to venture out into that music world, man.
So
Nah, leave that
okay.
one alone.
Yeah, he said.
I like Cornel West.
So he gave you his number.
He said, here's my number at the school. Hit me up when you got some music. And like maybe a year went by. We had did some real early stuff that has never seen the light of day. That was supposed to be the debut album. But I gave it to Dr. West on a CD. It was all, you know, mix was terrible and all that. It was just like, yo, we did some stuff.
Ta-da.
Like a year later, he came back to speak at Howard. So I was like, yo, I'm going to go to that joint, wait at the end. Finally waited it out somehow. He was right there. Hey, remember when Cornel West there? Oh, man, yeah. So then I was like,
He's
yo,
like, who
man.
is this little nigga with the green eyes?
Yeah, I'm like, I said, yo, man, I want to do some recording with you.
Oh wow.
And because he was working on music at the time, like he had put out a project before this, but he put out another project on Hidden Beach, which was the label.
That's what
Jill
had-
Scott
that's what
was
Jill
on.
Scott- it was
you
like
know what
Neo
I'm saying?
Soul.
Yeah, so
Oh, we was Hidden Beach. We was
Yeah.
going to all the
Oh, I
concerts.
didn't know that
Yeah,
was
that's
the
Hidden
label
Beach.
though.
Yeah,
Oh,
Hidden
okay.
It was a Neo
So-
Soul label.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
all the
so-
people we used to listen to was on Hidden Beach.
Oh,
yeah, so that was he was rolling with that family to release his stuff, and so I was like, you know, and he had like was it Andre? Was Andre on the album? Andre 3000? Maybe it was Andre. I think he had Prince. He had Gerald Levert.
wow.
He had a couple people on it, like
Heavy hitters.
Terrence Blanchard, who's the jazz musician who does all Spike Lee's like scores.
Oh, okay.
And so just, you know what I'm saying, it was like, yo, I want to work with Dr. West because he's doing music, so it would make sense if he was on our stuff. So eventually another year passed, and he called me. he was in Germany. I was working at XM Radio as a mailroom dude. I'm outside smoking a Newport. Phone rings. It was a long number. I was like, man, it's probably a bill collector. But something was like, answer that.
Yeah.
I answered it, and it was Dr. West.
Wow.
And he was, exactly. You know what I'm saying? So
He was
he
like,
said, yo, I'm coming and, what's up? Y'all got some dates for recording.
Wow.
And so he ends up coming to Maryland, Upper Marlboro. My man, Maurice Chevalier, was kind enough to say, yo, come, you can record it here. And Dr. West pulls up, low key in a suburban, jumps out, you see the afro, and he's like, young, he's really here.
Wow.
So it's like me, my whole crew at the time.
I was like,
The original band, it was me, my man Rashad Dobbins, who is like my
Your
main,
brother.
you know what I'm saying? John Moon, my sister Katrina Skinner, Shamsia is her name currently. Yvonne, my man Ezra Greer, bass player, my man Sam Levine on drums. But Ezra wasn't there, but Sam was there. So we all there, Doc's there, we go in, we record the first album.
Wow.
We had already, I think, did our parts, or maybe did them elsewhere at a different studio, but we got him, all his parts. He recorded
Wow.
at the instruction of Rashad, who just was like, hey, Doc, this song is about this, so just talk about something. And everything was off the top of his head. He would just say a part, and we tried to kind of use him in a way that was like, more like an actor versus a singer or a rapper. It was like, because he was in the Matrix.
yeah.
So it was like, well, what if this was like a scene from the, so anyway,
Wow.
we did that. He came and did the debut, the release show when we dropped the first album in 2009 or 10, I think it was. He came to live in Bohemian Caverns. We did the show there. He was on the stage dancing. That's on YouTube now.
I know. I
he
remember
was dancing to our interpretation of go-go. I don't want to say that it was go-go, but go-go is a part of it. So it's like we just, he's been kind enough to just like believe in what we've been doing. You know what I mean?
Good.
Like Doc has been there, like beyond the way I could imagine. Like, you know what I mean? He's literally helped me like put groceries on the table. You know what I'm
wow.
saying? So it's like,
Y'all, that's what I mean.
That's
like,
amazing.
That's what I mean when I say, we can't express our success based off things that we perceive.
yeah, because I've been able to touch.
You've been able
a
to
lot
touch
of
Yeah.
shit.
the minds
You know what I'm saying?
and the places you've been and the
Yeah.
things you've seen and who you've been around. Like your what you put out there, right? And the words that are on your songs. Let's say we're all dead and gone, and somebody picks that up 50 years from now. Man, you gonna learn from that. That's you have made, even if it hasn't been in the hands of the masses. And let's what you say and what you put out there is powerful. So when the masses do get it, not if, but when the masses do get it, you might be 60. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
You got this,
and
this,
it, and, like, man, and it is what it is. It's
Yeah.
like, even if I can't dance and move, if I can literally just sit right here and it's a mic, I'm gonna be on the stage.
But
All you
you
need
know
is
what?
one mic.
It
Yeah,
might not
exactly.
even. But one of the things that I know too, just in reference to watching people move in general, a lot of what I've studied is that sometimes we think the move is for us, but the connection and the move may be for these kids right here.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So you having Cornel West on speed dial, we don't know who in this room that
Might
it
benefit from that.
Yeah.
Yes, at some point.
So,
Relationships,
so,
you know what I'm
so
saying?
that's the thing about setting up these relationships. They gotta start somewhere, and where it might not come, it might not benefit you the way that you think at
Yeah.
this moment, but it's gonna benefit somebody
It's
in
like
our family.
Abraham.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
You know what I love about this conversation specifically? I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead,
so
baby.
I apologize. But when he said it's like Abraham, it just
Go ahead, go
triggered
ahead,
a
go
thought. And it kind of leads to why we named it Divine Purpose. Our foundation has been biblical. because of the way we were raised. As conscious as I am or we are, I understand the lessons and the stories, and because I've actually dug into it in the Bible, and I could take what I need out of it. And honestly, I've taken everything out of it. It's not a book that has enslaved me.
Yeah.
It hasn't enslaved, because a lot of people, they'll see me reading the Bible. The Bible's actually my favorite book. And I read a lot of books. The Bible's my favorite book. And because I could be here right now and read a story and know the story for what it is. I'm not sitting here like, oh, God, if you don't do it. No. What is this? I can learn from Aesop's fables. So there are so many stories in that book. You just said Abraham. It just the references, man. It's just like, well, how is it like where you are, and then like growing up in the church to being where you are now and that freedom, because you wear the roster ring proudly.
Yeah.
So how do you make that transition with your mother being a prophetess?
Well, you know what was dope? So Bob Marley obviously if nobody knows, he's a huge influence on me as an artist, as a person. Because a friend of mine, shout out to Coach Cheese, he played Bob for me once when I was like probably graduating high school. And I heard it, and like I said, when you're growing up in a certain place, you're trained to think a certain way. So instead of finding out where somebody's from, we just say, oh, that's Spanish, motherfucker. Because he speaks Spanish, or she speaks Spanish. So the same way, oh, them Jamaican motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying?
Jakes.
And then I heard it. And it was like, yo, what the is this? What is this dude talking about? And then I started listening more and studying Bob. And then it led me into, reggae itself. So I started to see the similarities in the way that the Rosses moved and the way that I was raised in the church. I saw that they were the same people in essence, that they just for reasons of the situation that they grew up in versus the situation I grew up in, where they were dealing with racism and colonialism versus racism and capitalism. Even though America was a colony still, you know what I'm saying?
Bars.
Still,
Oh, you say that one more time?
It was like,
that one more time?
Yeah, it's like they were dealing with racism and colonialism while we were dealing with racism and capitalism. In the 13 colonies. So it was still colonialism, but it was just the American version of it. I guess that's what capitalism is.
Capitalism is an updated version of colonialism.
Yeah. They try to make us think that it's just all about like a monetary thing, or and it's like, man, this is just a dumbass way for y'all to do dumbass shit and make people feel miserable.
Listen.
At least that's how I see it. Like I said, I don't know. It's just like I'm still as old as I am. I'm still young, so I'm looking at it like, hey, yo, Donald Trump, you 70 what? And you did that to somebody's kids?
Yeah.
What if that was you? Yeah, what if that was your kids at the border?
No, he would.
You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Yeah, so it's just
absolutely
like
not.
Even the Clintons with Haiti and all that shit. Like,
yeah,
all these niggas is
but it's
dirty,
just like I said. So it's like Rasta. They also not just dealt with the politics of it, but the spiritual side of it, but the politics of it, of like being active with like saying, nah, young, we can't just keep going out like this. Like, we got to figure out ways to like sustain ourselves, and you know what I mean? Like I said, like, let's grow our own food. Like, you going, have us out here, we're going to figure out how to make this land work for us. And how can I be kind to somebody? Like we grew up in the ghetto. Bob and them come from a worse ghetto than Lincoln Heights, than Berry Farms, and Sursum Quarters. Like way worse.
I know
and that's no diss to anybody else's struggle, because like I said, I grew up down the street from the projects. My cousins grew up in the projects. So it's all about perspective, but still, the like Kingston is totally different.
Yeah, for real.
Like, I got a Jamaican friend. He's in the financial industry, and I had a meeting with him one time, and somebody got real rah with him, like loud, like blah, 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 blah. And he was like, he told me, we had a conversation. He said, look man, It's because you just see him as a businessman. You don't know where they come from.
Yeah.
You think just because they're not like, Lord have mercy.
Yeah, yeah.
Nah, nigga, they steal from them fucking. You know what I'm saying?
Perfect.
You don't gotta be doing all that to know
Yeah.
where you from. Like I'm over here for this opportunity. So he told me, he said, "Look, man, I'm not impressed by that rah shit, man. The shit I seen, nothing compared to what you've seen."
He hit him with that ox from Belly when DMX came in his house and he was like, "What you scared because you good?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "Don't you ever bring scared business to me."
Don't ever.
Yeah, he's like, you're looking at the toughest Ross Clyde Jamaican in the whole United.
Yeah,
like,
biggest done.
Yeah, like
I gotta rewatch.
go
Belly.
ahead, man. Like, don't play with me, cause what I've seen is different. Like I said, so it's like for them to still think about reggae before dancehall, before that era. There wasn't no reggae songs where nobody was talking about killing the nigga across the street, or I slapped this bitch.
Wasn't about that.
They was growing up in the ghetto. They saw violence, but they said, "Nah, man, how do I write about love? How do I write about this pain without inflicting pain on somebody, even in the song?" Because in essence, you kind of doing that. Like when you think about hip hop, it's like by the end of the song, man, 20 niggas done got shot.
It's amazing.
Let alone the
Bitches
video. Let alone the video.
They done got raped.
Yeah,
all kinds of stuff. Drugged up. All pimped.
Like
all
Biggie
kinds of
said,
stuff.
smacking babies at your Christian.
young.
Yeah, for real. For real.
But he also
of
said
crazy
deep
shit,
like
though.
the mind of Farrakhan
He
in
did.
the same joint.
Yo,
like
Biggie was interesting, bro.
But that's us.
I think that's the
That's our-
complexity.
Mixed
That's
messages.
Yes, that's why I love
Big Crit.
Big Crit.
Big Crit got a song called
That's
Mixed
why I
Messages.
love that song.
Yeah. She sent it to me.
Oh yeah,
I love Crit.
It reminded me that album when it dropped. I listened to that album, and me and Daniel wasn't even together at that time. And I sent it to him. I was like, "You need to listen to this. This
said
remind me of you.
And then I swear to God, the album.
Listen to the album.
The album is that. What was it? What was the Forever's a Mighty Long Time?
Yeah.
That was the name of that project.
I love that song.
But what he talks about in this album is he's going. I like albums. I like concept albums. I like concept. That's why I like Kendrick Lamar. That's why I like J. Cole. I like to hear. I like to be like I'm in a
story.
I'm in
like
something.
you didn't just do this and y'all put a bunch of songs together.
Yeah, it's not just singles. Like it's this connects to this connects. Like To Pimp a Butterfly is one of my favorite joints because it's leading you through a poem. But anyways, this Big Crit album that she sent me, and we weren't together at the time. But she was like, "You gotta listen to this joint from front to back because it just reminds me of you." I didn't even hear it, and I'm a fan of Big Crit. But he's going through himself in the industry, and he gets to the point where he's just like, you know what, I'm gonna just be myself. And the second part of the album is him being himself as Justin Scott, and you go through it, and it's just like. One of the songs when he's going into himself is called Mixed Messages. I got a whole lot of mixed messages. My son, and he talks about that shit, and it's just like, damn.
But so speaking of that though, like who do you admire right now?
Yeah, who?
Because I did hear some people that you didn't admire in your song in your album, but who do you admire right now?
Right now, off the top, I love Griselda.
Griselda?
Yeah, from Buffalo.
Shout out to Westside Gun. Shout out to Benny the Butcher, Conway. I love them dudes because they sound like hip hop.
They do.
They
do.
They remind me of.
Were
Like
they
I
on
said,
Drink Champs?
Yeah, they was on Drink Champs.
Oh, is that the dude with the face, the jaw?
Conway,
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
that's
Conway.
okay.
They're from Buffalo.
Oh yeah, that's why I remember
I love
that.
what they do, man. And the music, it's funny because I discovered them late. Not super late, like early enough to catch a lot of
Catch
what's
the
been
wave,
coming out. But I was like, all right, they had already done a couple of like mixtapes and shit before I got turned on to them. But what I loved about it was when I heard it, even though content wise, obviously it's different because they're coming from a more street approach to what's in the songs. My approach is from the street, but from the perspective of somebody who saw it versus being
Somebody that was in it, yeah.
and
like
not
Nas.
and not like
Nas.
you know what I'm
Nas is
saying, and not
storyteller.
like trying to be the nigga who was faking like he was doing shit.
That's what.
And I'm not, you know, the nigga that was always trying to live off of his man's rep. It's just I'm telling this from the Pigeon's view.
I'm an artist
on the power line. The Pigeon was looking and saw,
view.
you know, when your man got stole in front of, you know, the Benco shopping mall.
You ever heard the Nas song "Looking Out of My Project Window"?
No, but I'll be
Project Windows. I think it's on the Lost Tapes.
Okay.
But yeah.
But yeah, man. Like I said, I love what Griselda's doing because I also, when I discovered them. Cause my man, shout out to DJ Roddy Rod, Humble Monarch Records. We got something new coming, but when I found them, I started hearing more about them. My man was like, "Yo, you need to check out Griselda because y'all stuff is not the same, but it's a similar like kind of feeling." I
can see
you know in the
vibe
music
of
because
it.
like I said, Wes, I like the fact that he raps over. Just sometimes like just loops of soul. It ain't really
you talking
even
about Kanye?
West Side Gun.
Oh, West Side Gun. I like
a lot of like you know,
West Side Gun. Yeah, I got
it. A lot of the joints he raps over are just like a loop of a piece of a soul song.
Yeah.
It ain't necessarily the drums and all of that. It's just like real bare bones. Like yo, it's almost like he's just rapping over top of a record, which is something that I discovered long before them with Ghostface. He did it on this one joint on the Pretty Tony album called Holler, where he rapped, and this probably wasn't the first time they did it, but he rapped over a Delphonics joint, I think. But la 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 la. I mean, he just played the whole joint and rapped over the singing and everything.
Oh wow!
And I was like, that's so dope.
Ghostface, he did it over another song too.
He got a couple joints like that. And then there's obviously I love Jay Dilla.
I love Jay Dilla.
Shout out to Ma Dukes and my man Tony Smith.
I love when he listens to Jay Dilla.
She says.
So you got Donuts, of course.
Yeah.
So you know how donuts, a lot of donuts is like real bare. It's not a lot of like extra stuff in it. It's like
it's basic.
Sometimes
not
it's
basic,
just,
but it's just
it's like almost sometimes it sounds like it's just the record itself. So I was like, young, what if somebody just started like rapping over stuff like that? So then I discovered, like I said, Griselda. I discovered Mark Hami, the God Fahim, who runs with Mark Hami, and they like kind of like similar styles musically, like with that soul shit. Rock Marciano. So these are like some of the people, like I said, that are currently and have been doing it for some time, but it's like now a lot of people are starting to like recognize the names. And for those who's already in the know, they know who they are.
They're a gift to hip hop because it was starting to sound all one way.
That's the big thing about it. Was like I
sound
love the
one
fact that Griselda stuck to a certain style of beats in a time when everybody's just trapping. It's like, yo, man, come on, like,
can we have some type of balance in this motherfucker?
And so when you hear it, it's like, yo, this feels like Black Moon. This feel like
Mobb Deep and shit.
Yeah, Mobb Deep. This feel like Wu-Tang. Like, so, and not to like say that they're being nostalgic in any way on purpose, but it just, they come from that essence.
But they are mid-30s.
Yeah, so it makes
so like that's why honestly, like when you talk to people in our age group, they all mention them as far as what's new out, and it's because they come from our generation for the most part. So they already was listening to what we was listening to. Everybody else they was listening to Shiny Suit music.
Shiny Suit.
Shiny Suit music, and then went to the goddamn the fucking done. It's going down phase. So now these are all the art. These are them babies growing up now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But we came up in the 90s. So Griselda and them have that 90s hip hop sound. And it's fucking refreshing.
It's like an essence.
It's refreshing, man. It's like, damn, we can
you got a couple other people like Joey Badass, which I don't listen to Joey Badass like in depth, but I've heard stuff from him that I hear that, like, you know what I mean? Like even like Our Future, like the stuff that they were doing, some of their joints, Tyler the Creator, Earl Sweatshirt, and that might be going back before this current moment, but they're still like in the, you know, the last couple of years of like the new wave of people that's like doing shit that like that made me at least be like, yo, what's up with them? Like Kendrick, I definitely respect Kendrick as a lyricist. J. Cole as well, Rhapsody.
Oh, okay.
Rhapsody's nice.
Yeah.
I like the joint with she got all the women that
Yeah,
she songs.
I think it's called Eat.
Eve, I think it is.
I might
No,
be.
Eve is one of the songs.
I think
like,
Eve is one of the songs.
D
Yeah.
Smoke.
D
He's
Smoke.
dope. He's out
Never heard
of
of D
Inglewood, California. D Smoke. He won this. It was one of them joints. You know, the like American Idol type of contest joints, and he won. It was on Netflix. I forget which one it is.
Oh, the joint with Cardi B in him?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh
yeah,
yes, it was the one with them.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
couldn't
and
watch-
Jay,
I
I think it
watched
was
that
Jay. It wasn't J. Cole.
T.I. was on
No, the rapper. Something the rapper. Channing the rapper. Chance the
yeah,
rapper.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, he won one of them competitions, and then now he's been doing his thing.
Okay.
But he's kind of like I'm not exactly like Kendrick, but I'd say in that vein because he's speaking more from that perspective of like, yo, man, you can achieve more than just what I grew up around.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's good. So that's what you listening
So
to.
it's just like I
that.
said, I'm looking for balance because
Right.
I obviously speak from a certain perspective because I don't want to see nobody get banged out. You know what I mean?
That's I respect that, man.
Like I know what it's like at least to have people in my life that have ended up on the wrong side of a jail cell or a bullet.
Yeah.
So, you know,
So you can't
but
glorify
I
something
still
that you
like
seen.
but I still like I said because it's hip hop and I like hip hop mostly wasn't positive. It was cool and positive.
It was
back
almost
in
like
the
a form
day.
of blues.
So you don't never
pain.
get in the ride, and when you just want to feel yourself throwing a motherfucker
Young
young
dog.
dog.
Nah, but that's what I'm
That's
saying.
my
Like,
nigga. I
it's-
can't help
it
it.
depends on what it is. I have plenty moments of where I have a list of songs that most people would probably be like, "Oh, Tim wouldn't listen to that." Like, you know what I mean? Like,
But I understand the difference when he have Young Dolph energy.
Hey Slim, she'd be like, "Look, you've been listening to Young Dolph for 3 days
That
straight."
first day is fun. It's like, hey, what we doing? And then after the third day, it's like, nigga,
yeah.
Can you put comment
Nah,
on,
in the
please?
trap.
Look,
I feel like being loved.
cut on that Jay Dilla
Trust me,
something.
I got like I
like,
said, I got my list where I got 2 Chainz joints on there. No diss, like I said, no diss to these artists. It's just
Yeah.
like I said, obviously we differ in the content.
Right.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like,
Right.
but I actually appreciate, like I said, some of the newer stuff that 2 Chainz did because I've heard him over beats like the joints that I like, the joints that I grew up listening to.
Yeah.
The evolution of those joints. You know what I'm saying? There's like a different perspective of just him over the trap stuff, or like you hearing him over this, like, oh nah, he changed and actually rhyme. Like,
Like, Chainz is
you know
good,
what
man.
I'm saying?
Titty
Like,
boy. He used to be
like
titty
I
boy.
said, you
I mean,
know
I'm
what
gonna be real with you. I feel like that's part of the reason why I like Meg Thee Stallion.
She
like,
loves Meg Thee
no,
Stallion.
for real. The reason why is because she's rapping over old beats.
Yeah.
She's rapping over Juvenile. She's rapping over old songs, and it's like, I know this rhythm already,
yeah.
so I already know what to do with it. And it's like, oh, she's putting a spin on it. So I get that. Like when someone's rapping or making music over something that is familiar to you, or makes you feel nostalgic. So you're able to relate to them, no matter what form it is, Megan Thee Stallion or what the people from Buffalo.
Yeah, Griselda.
But the point is that it makes you feel a certain way, so you're immediately attracted to the music because you already feel nostalgic based off of what they're talking
Yeah,
over.
yeah,
So you're like,
yeah.
oh, I'm already in the mood
Yeah.
because I know this song and it was in my house, and it's like,
Yeah, it's
oh,
familiar.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
it's familiar.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, and I
man.
think that's what Meg Thee Stallion created for a lot of the people in our generation. That's why we were able to accept her so openly, because it's like, oh, I know that Juvenile song. I
Yeah.
remember that
Yeah.
from back in the day.
Yeah, man. So I guess, we kind of wrapping up now. I got one more question for you.
Yeah.
What would you
Okay.
say to yourself, let's say 20 years ago?
Oh man.
What lesson would
Your
you give
younger
yourself?
self.
What would you tell your younger self?
Man, it's a couple things that I probably would have said, but I don't know. Can I do 2?
Yeah.
All right. So I definitely would have told myself don't wait on other people.
Don't wait on other people.
That would have been one. And it's not to immediately throw everything on everybody else, but it's just that sometimes you have something that you need to do. And
you don't need permission
sometimes
from nobody.
the ride requires other people to get it done, but you can also hinder yourself when you wait on other people. And it's not, like I said, that's not to throw shots at any one person or any one group of people. It's all across the boards with lots of things. Because obviously, like I said, I still have the same fire inside that I had when I was that age of, yo, I really want to do this. You know what I mean? Now I'm at the point where I'm like, nah, I do this because it's like, nah, I have some accolades that I can say, nah, I got that, and you didn't. So, yeah, who really is, you know, good at what they do with this shit? Like, it ain't no, you can't find a track record of what I do and what my crew has been doing, you know. But it's just like I said, I look at some things that I did or did not do, and know that it was because I was waiting on somebody else.
Don't wait. That's heavy.
The second thing might be just go harder at your craft. Like, just go harder at it so that you can hopefully increase the speed that you get to, you know, what you think is the goal. Because like I said, there's goals after the goal. Like, it's like, all right, now I done made it to this point. How do I sustain it? Or then you get to a point where it's going to be like, all right, I'm done with this. What's the next thing? So
that's important.
just, I think those two things, like, it's probably some other stuff.
Those
those
were
amazing.
good.
Those two are amazing.
I literally just wrote in my journal last week that I don't need permission from anybody to do anything. So when you said don't wait on no one, I felt that because I felt like a lot of times I was waiting for everybody to understand and get on board.
Yeah, me too.
And it's like, no.
You'll get it later.
Yeah, you'll get it later. Just
You'll see.
move. You'll see.
You'll see.
So yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Totally understood
And
that
the last question, I guess, is, man, who would you know our vibe, you know how we are. Who would you like to see or we could reach out to on the show?
Oh, man, who should be on this show? First of all, again, I love y'all.
Yeah, thank you for
'cause
coming,
this was
man.
beautiful.
It's a blessing to have you
And
on
anytime,
this
like I
platform.
said, y'all want me to pop up, man.
Man, you can pop up
up.
whenever. Come just chill in the room, for real. Like, that's
For real.
We're really trying to make
For
it an
real.
atmosphere where it's comfortable. Like, this
Yeah.
could be a fucking Saturday thing
Yeah.
to do. Like,
Yeah.
come, who would fuck on?
I told Daniel
become a
that
networking
today.
event.
I was like, I really wanted to be. I want to create. That's why I'm trying to lean away from calling this a podcast, because I really want this to be like the Arsenio Hall, the Jay Leno. Like, this is like a interview. I want people to be able to come and perform. Like, I'm not just trying to do podcasting, but I really want this to be something bigger than that. So definitely
Keep that going, baby. Keep it in the mind, baby. I like that.
I'm still thinking, because I know, look, don't nobody get mad and be like, nah, young, why you ain't say me?
why you ain't put me on.
But I'm trying to really think about whose name I should throw out there as, yo, you should definitely reach out to this person and have them on the show. My lady.
Oh,
Yeah.
you better call her name first.
BB Singleton.
Okay.
BB Singleton.
Because she is a fashion junkie. She is a people person. She's a world traveler. And she is a aspiring costume designer.
Oh.
So you don't have a lot of black costume
Not at
designers
all.
that you hear about, at least.
Not
at all.
So that might be cool to, you know what I mean,
Costume
maybe tie
designer.
those things in: fashion, costume design,
I would like that, actually.
film.
That does sound like an interesting show.
Shoot, I might need to
like
talk
I
to her
said,
when I'm
I was-
doing, because you know,
She
I
still do
teach
the
dance,
production.
and so this year the theme of the
That
dance
shit,
company was that we was gonna go around to different prominent spots in DC, and the kids actually dance outside. I'm just trying to pull together what the actual theme of this year is gonna be, because each year has a theme for me. But as far as costume design, we need costumes. Like, we need somebody to figure out how the kids will look the best, and especially to go along with the themes. But yeah, that's that.
Sounds good. BB
I was,
Singleton.
like I said, I was thinking of a bunch of artists that I know, and you know, and then it just hit me, was just like, that's the thing, like, you trying to build something. So it's like that's the other thing, was like when we were talking about like with the kids and you trying to push them to go in not the direction you want them to go, but in the right direction.
Yeah.
Because the right direction might not be, hey, young, you need to be this.
It's never that. It's the same way you heard God tell you Cornel West Theory. They gonna have God tell them something.
Yeah.
It don't have
Absolutely.
nothing to do with I want for
Nothing
them.
at all.
And Treese had to teach me that,
I
because I used to
did.
try to direct them.
He had Kiara being the accountant. Kiara was like, 'cause so she's in the National Academy of Finance in school, and he was like, oh, okay, Kiara gonna be our accountant. She was like, I hate this.
I had Kayla doing something else.
Kayla was gonna be
She's like,
running
I
the
like
daycare facility, and it was just like, don't tell them what they gonna do in your life, because they gotta have their own life.
Yeah.
So I just want, I don't really have a future planned out for Kayla and Kiera at all in my mind. But there are things that I know, because I just know that are going to happen. But as far as who they going to be, I'm on a ride with them.
Yeah.
Let's
I'm
do
looking forward to
this.
Yes.
seeing it.
Yes.
With
Let's
no
do
judgment.
this.
You gonna fuck up, baby.
And this, you
Yeah.
know, one of the reasons why I said that is to say it might be them. Zoe might end up blowing up and hiring me.
Absolutely.
and so many
that's why I
things you've
said
gone
my lady
through
was
along the
just
way.
like, yeah, I was like, well, my lady might blow up before I do.
Yes. And
Hey,
be,
man,
yes.
I need you to hire me to play at this function
Yep.
that, you know,
because she's putting on
Virgil Abloh and all these
Yeah.
fashion people
You
are.
gonna walk down the
Absolutely.
runway?
Yeah, like, let
No,
me,
he
I'll
playing.
be stepping.
He
yeah.
playing.
Stepman.
You know what I'm saying? What, like, young, like there was this joke on the Boondocks, one of the episodes where Grandpops was dating this lady supposed to be like a Kardashian or something. The people was like dissing him, and she was like, "You ain't worried about that? Like them talking about you?" And he was like, "They're outside the limo, baby." It's real simple. Think about
They
that.
are
Like, young,
outside.
they're on that side
Yes.
of the fun and the good times that I'm experiencing
Absolutely.
based on this person winning. So, hey man, I want you to win.
Yeah.
I want him
Absolutely.
to win. That's why it's like, yo, if he in there watching the gamers and all that, I don't know, he might build a game.
Oh, I got a
For
friend.
real.
He
of mine.
might be the,
I do
the
got
next,
a good friend.
you know what I'm saying, PlayStation.
I
Like,
got a
you,
good
you don't
friend,
know what
man.
it's gonna be.
Absolutely. For
I
real.
got a friend whose son play games all the time, and now he's a YouTuber.
Yeah,
And
he get
gets
paid.
checks from YouTube
Yeah,
every
you
month.
see what I'm saying? So it's like
Playing
I
the game.
said, it's like, hey man, you might buy me my first next
Yeah,
car.
Yeah.
Shoot, for
So-
real.
Yeah, so-
100%.
For
Never
real.
all right with it, because I done fucking birthed you and led you along the way. And I done
Yes.
did something right, and they'll pay me back. But nah, man, this has been a great show again, man.
Yeah.
We thank you for
Yeah.
coming.
Man, we could be here all day.
We could be here all day, so we're gonna wrap it up now. And I usually close out with final thoughts. I'm not gonna close with final thoughts today. Today's final thoughts, I'm gonna allow.
What?
Hey, look,
Wait.
I'm not gonna close
Wait.
with final thoughts.
Wait.
Today, I'm gonna let my final thoughts come from the mind and the artistry of somebody else. So I'm gonna close the show out with these final thoughts.
Okay.
Lift every voice and scream. And that's how we're gonna close out the show. Let that ride out.
You gotta cut it up.
Hey,
Thank
man,
Man.
love you, bro.
Mr. Cornel West Theory.
Y'all gotta excuse me if I move slow, because I ended up hurting my old ass back. I'm lifting the damn couch in the crib. And like, you just talking, you tell your studio.
I paint the picture vivid, people pay attention, listen, keep the peace and pray for peace and grab the peace and get 'em. Mind over matter, Black Lives do. Shout it on the megaphone, loud on the Bluetooth, high up as the listening skies, eyes wide saying, don't just stay woke, folk, let's stay alive singing, don't just say fuck Trump, get in line, tear that fucking statue down, people it's time
time, singing songs full of hope. Not a song full of niggas killing niggas selling coke. Cause our neck is on the road, but the check is on the line. So you rap about dope, money, sex, crime, murder, gun, powder, power, ghost, in the shell toes. We on that underground railroad. My ancestors ain't need no cell phones.